Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, let's just dive on in and let's start off with a few things. So the overall market has been very incredible the last couple days. One of the biggest things that I've been looking at with XRP is clearing 56 cents. So far we are at 50, almost 4 cents, which we are breaking out of a significant level of resistance, but we still have a long way to go until we really kind of flip very bullish on XRP in the short term. But beyond that, long term, this game has changed. Listen, for those that have bought under 30K, well, guess what? You're lucky, because I do think that we are nearing the moment of truth before we get to the point of like 40K plus on Bitcoin. Under 20K was short-lived. A lot of people didn't want to buy under 20K on Bitcoin. They were expecting 10K. They were expecting even sub 10K. Like, it was ridiculous. And now that we're at almost 32K, which is the prime target for me at least, we are really kind of starting to see the narrative switch over on Twitter and on socials. And this is very, very incredible to see. Now, as we look at XRP, one thing that I will take from this market right now is that we still very well are early. We are in before the major institutions. They are planning, they are preparing, they are getting their infrastructure in place. But what's crazy about all of this is that if we go back to the last cycle, we hit $3 trillion in market cap for the global crypto market cap, right? We are now sitting at almost 1.2 trillion. XRP has roughly almost $29 billion in market cap. Ethereum has over 200 and almost $6 billion in market cap. To me personally, as we look at XRP today, and as we look at the all-time high on Ethereum in the last major cycle, I wouldn't be surprised if we seen XRP have a 10x run from even today's levels, which would put it at almost a $300 billion market cap. And before a lot of people say, Nick, you're absolutely crazy to think that XRP can go to 300 billion, we already know that Ethereum went to almost $600 billion market cap. And as we look at XRP, we know XRP is the only asset that actually has clarity from the law. I know that Bitcoin got the free pass. I don't really care about that. I care about the fact that XRP has now full-on clarity. Ripple is also expanding their payment licensing and offering Ripple payments, which is on-demand liquidity. So XRP is tied into that. We also know that the XRP ledger has been expanding rapidly and has been more bullish now than ever before. And there's a lot more substance here. But also, what a lot of people are forgetting about is the ETFs coming to the space, which we will talk about. But here's XRP. So listen, if we're talking about going to $10, $10 is the key level that everyone has in place. Me personally, I'm just looking at $5, right? Like $5 is a 16x almost off of the lows. If we go back to the last cycle, and if we go off of the March of 2020 lows to the top here on XRP, this was roughly an 18x. So a 16.5x off of the lows on XRP would not be too surprising in my opinion. It is diminished gains, one, but also two, it's to $5. It's a target that's 50% less than the original $10 target. In my opinion, yes, XRP does have enough to go to $10. I'm just saying $5 would not be a bad start on XRP. But also, if we go into the past, like this monstrous move from 2017 to 2018 was huge. Will we ever see a move like that in XRP today? It's questionable, right? Because we're talking about percentage wise. If we're talking about the dollar wise, like the actual change in dollars on XRP, yes, I do think that we could see that. But percentage wise, it's harder, right? In my opinion, as we look at XRP, I think that the 16 and almost a half X return on XRP from the low back in June to where we are going to most likely top out on, which we still don't know yet time frame wise. We have to engage off of the chart. But if we are talking about off of the lows to the topping point here, I think $5 is a safe bet. We still have a long way to go. We still have to break out of the 2021 high. We also have to break out of the high from 2017 and 2018. But the reason why I think that this is possible, and the reason why I think that people talking about, 20 billion or 200 billion or even, $1 trillion in market cap, and a lot of people saying like, oh, $200 billion is not going to happen for XRP. I think that that's crazy. A lot of people said $1 trillion in market cap for XRP. A lot of people said that that was crazy. But then we seen Bitcoin hit $1 trillion in market cap, and pretty much everyone just didn't even care. They just were going on with their day. If Bitcoin can hit $1 trillion in market cap, I don't see why any other asset can't. Now, with that, we can't just base it off of that. We also have to base it off of utility. We have to base it off of things behind the scenes that are actually happening as well to really kind of say, all right, could it actually do this? In my opinion, yes, XRP could. But if we're just starting off with, $300 billion in market cap, which a lot of people will say that's crazy, there's no way that's going to happen. We need to actually look at the Bitcoin ETFs, right? So there's actually a video that got posted by Crypto Eddie, and this is BlackRock's Larry Fink talking about the Bitcoin ETF. This is October 18th. Listen closely to this video. It's about 2 minutes long.
Historically, we thought of gold as that key commodity, but crypto has caught the imagination of millions and millions of people. And I really do believe it's going to play a role. I mean, the design of Bitcoin is a pretty amazing design. It's been tested already. I mean, when you think about the FTX fiasco and all these things, these are just fraudulent companies. They created their own crypto coin. The beauty of Bitcoin, there's checks and balances all throughout it. These other exchanges were just fictitious exchanges, and there was no checks and balances. I mean, that's the irony. The irony of, if you look at the beauty of what a Bitcoin is and what they're trying to do, maximum 21 million Bitcoins. I think right now there's like 12 million of them. So there's not many more years left in mining them. And so there's a finite level of these. And if people value them as worth something, and they have the confidence, and you could say what's behind it, but because what's behind gold other than what it's used for jewelry. I mean, and I think we as human beings have found different things that we ascribe value to. I mean, when you see a contemporary piece of art that's selling over $100 million and somebody is ascribing a value to that artist and it's trading, and I think that's what Bitcoin is. And I'm hearing more and more from different parties of the world where they want to diversify.
So you're looking to provide investment products for...
We filed with the SEC, which I can't talk about it, a spot market Bitcoin ETF with the full transparency of what an ETF can be. And
you're confident you're going to get that approved, those approvals?
You know the regulatory atmosphere right now. If confident, I'd be a fool. I mean, I think we answered a lot of questions, and I think there's a great demand for this. And look, the SEC has to play their role and their job in making sure that, it's safe and sound. But I think we created a safe and sound product.
It's interesting you say that. And again, I'm not talking here about crypto or your particular Bitcoin product, but you just as an aside there said, what the regulatory environment is like right now. Is that something that concerns you? You're seeing a pretty aggressive antitrust enforcement approach from the Biden administration. Arguably, we still have, obviously a very tight financial regulations. Do you think actually, if anything, that pendulum has swung too far in terms of the regulatory climate here in the US?
I believe the great foundation of capitalism is destruction and renewal. And one way of destruction is merging companies into bigger companies and making them better and stronger.
So the direct quote here is, if confident, I'd be a fool. Regarding regulations working with, of course, the SEC on this ETF. But in my opinion, I think that this was a front because we are actually starting to see a few moves being made, which we will talk about that here in a second. But first, let's actually look at this post from October 13th. This is from Minus Wells. And we actually see the potential liquidity that could enter the crypto market in the next couple years is astonishing, even if their allocation to Bitcoin is at 3%. We're talking about roughly $16.6 trillion. We're not talking about the $16 trillion that is projected for tokenization. No, we're not talking about any of that. We're talking about $16.6 trillion in assets under management from the companies trying to have a spot Bitcoin ETF approved. Think about that. Now, you have people saying, XRP can't go to $200 billion in market cap, $300 billion in market cap, $500 billion. But we've already seen Bitcoin hit $1 trillion. We've already seen Ethereum hit $600 billion. Why is it so crazy to think about XRP hitting $200, $300, $400, $500 billion in market cap? Especially with how much money is going to be flowing into this space. And remember, money trickles from Bitcoin into Ethereum, from Ethereum into other altcoins. XRP could very well see a large amount of money pouring into it, especially considering the fact that it is in the top 5. Outside of this, we also see over here one of two things, and this is from Johnny Deaton. The SEC has capitulated on the spot Bitcoin ETF and approval before the end of the year, or certainly before the end of the first quarter of 2024, is a certainty. Or the SEC is gathering more information during these discussions to come up with a different reason for denying the spot ETF, thus creating the greatest head fake / rug pull in SEC history. Personally, I wouldn't put number 2 past the SEC or Gary Gensler. In fact, if Larry Fink weren't one of the applicants / proponents, I would expect number 2. But with $10 trillion in assets under management, his voice is pretty loud. And again, we have to be aware, like, this ETF could very well just be manipulation of the market, which I would not bet against. Again, Johnny Deaton is even saying that as well, because FTX, we know, was an inside job essentially, and we know that that hurt a ton of retail investors and it also took the market by storm. So why would this be any different? But also we see from Cathie Wood, we do see SEC is engaging with us on the Bitcoin ETF application. It shows a change in the SEC's behavior. Bitcoin ETFs will come for sure. Multiple ETFs will get approved at the same time. The court is going to mandate the SEC. Listen closely to this.
Looks like the SEC is going to be forced to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. What, if any, communications have you had with the SEC about your application? Where are we in this whole thing?
Well, it was publicized and disclosed. I think it was last week that we had responded to the SEC's request for information around our Bitcoin filing, and we responded. And that's basically all we can say. I think many people think the fact that the SEC chose to ask questions is a change in behavior. And therefore, I do think hopes are rising that or a number of Bitcoin ETFs will be approved.
Yeah, my understanding is the court now is going to issue a mandate about how to enforce their decision here to the SEC, and their SEC is going to basically follow that mandate. Everybody is assuming at this point that they'll probably approve most of the Bitcoin ETFs by the end of the year. That's a reasonable assumption at this point? They lost the court case. They chose not to appeal it at this point.
Right. And I do believe maybe the reason they're saying by the end of the year, early next year, I know our final deadline on this filing is January 10th. And so, and I think we're first in line. But as you say, a number of Bitcoin ETFs could be approved at the same time.
Now,
So it seems as though the entire sentiment around these ETFs are changing now, especially after the SEC has taken hit after hit after hit. And as we really kind of look at this, it's very interesting and it's very exciting because of the amount of capital that could flow into the space. Outside of this, there has been a few posts regarding the fact that the Blackrock ETF is getting prepared. We actually see over here that Blackrock stating in the recent spot Bitcoin ETF amendment that they are seeding the ETF. Now, this is in October. What's interesting about this is every single ETF gets seeded, right? This is typical behavior. It's normal. But what's different about this? It's because usually this happens when the ETF is ready to launch. This is why it is so significant to watch this right now. Because if this does get approved, this could very well be massive for Bitcoin and for the entire market itself. This is institutional capital flowing into crypto in a very large way. They already obtained the CUSIP, and they may be looking to seed with cash this month, which is earlier than I would have thought, but maybe nothing. And it could very well be nothing, but this is typical, right? Like we even see background. Seeding an ETF is when initial funding is provided, typically by a bank or broker dealer used to purchase a few creation units, in this case, Bitcoin, in exchange for ETF shares, which can be traded in open market on day one. Seeding is typically not a lot of money, just enough to get the ETF going. So I wouldn't read this as, oh my God, BlackRock is buying a ton of Bitcoin at all, but more the fact that they are doing it and disclosing it shows another step in the process of launching. And yes, that's exactly what this is. It's a step in the right direction, and it means that we could very well be close to having this launched. We also seen from the DTCC website that BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF is listed here. Look at this. So this is very interesting. Like I said, we could very well be close to this. And we also seen from Forex Live that Grayscale court ruling sends Bitcoin ETF approval back to the SEC. This was just yesterday. SEC told next steps to take on Grayscale Bitcoin ETF plans as well. And also we seen from Flip the Chain really kind of comparing this Bitcoin ETF to the first gold ETF when it was launched. It skyrocketed to 420%. And here you guys have from US funds. In March of 2003, the first gold ETF appeared and the price of the yellow metal skyrocketed 420%. Again, that's a 4x return. To some people, that might not seem like a lot, but that would immediately send Bitcoin over 100K. That's crazy. Now, is it going to happen overnight? No. For example, this price of gold, right, from 2002, roughly 2003, rose 420% over the course of roughly 7 years. But with Bitcoin, we know Bitcoin moves much faster than the traditional world. With an ETF plus retail plus FOMO, we could very well see Bitcoin pumping well beyond 50K plus. So that's a lot of capital. That's a lot of money in this market, and that money will trickle. And that's where XRP comes into place. And that's where I say, listen, could this bull run be starting yet again? I think it's too early to call it right now. But what I think is very exciting is that XRP is nearing the moment of truth. 56 cents is the target. Make sure to keep a close eye out on 56 cents on XRP. But guys, this market is heating up. Things are getting very excited. We still need to come back down to earth, be level, right? We can't let our emotions get the best of us, and we need to make sure that we are being patient, vigilant, and we are also really kind of exercising caution, especially at moments where we are at resistance. Bitcoin still hasn't broken out of our key level. By the time that this does go live, we should have already broken that level. If we didn't, it's okay. We still need to be very, very careful with that level, and we need to watch to see if it is going to break or not. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because I'm a free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Peace out.